Hello, my name's Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the village of Tyneham in Dorset on the Isle of Purbeck. It's situated about 10 miles west of Swanage and 4 miles south of Wareham. There's a single road in and out and we're doing a 4-mile circular route from the village up to a ridge on Whiteway Hill, along to an Iron Age hill fort, down into Worbarrow Bay and back into the village. Now Tyneham is no ordinary village. Up until the outbreak of the Second World War, the settlement was about 250 villagers and mainly fishermen and farm estate workers. But all that changed on the 19th of November 1943, when every single household received an identical letter from the War Office. And it was basically telling them that their properties were going to be used during the war as an army firing range, and they were basically given 1 month's notice to leave, which must have been pretty stressful at the time leading up to Christmas. The villagers took it in their stride to a certain extent. I think they felt that they were doing their bit for the war, and at the time the feeling was that the war didn't have that much longer to go, and so they were billeted across Dorset. But at the end of the war, the army decided that they would stay here, and in 1948 compulsory purchase orders were made across all of the land and all of the buildings. And basically the villagers never returned. So what we have here today is almost like a ghost village, a village frozen in time. It's still used by the army, but there is public access at certain times of the year, most weekends, and I think pretty much all of August and a couple of weeks around Christmas. So you can come here and have a little exploration. But do check out the website first to make sure of the opening hours. So what we're going to do, I'll have a very brief look around the village. Obviously the video is going to be mainly about the walk, and I could almost do a video purely about Tyneham village itself. But let's have a little look round. Well, just as we head into the village, this little row of buildings here is actually called the Row. Most of the roofs have been removed for health and safety reasons with all the public around. So these 4 houses were, there was the schoolhouse, the labourer's cottage, the post office and the shepherd's cottage. Well, the end house was always where the shepherd used to live. So let's have a little exploration inside. It really is quite fascinating, and in each of these houses there's a little display board which tells us the history. So this is the shepherd's cottage, and just turning around, it really is quite extraordinary really. I'll just see what else we can see. Heading around, I think the fact that there are no roofs on gives it a little bit of a atmosphere to the place. So look, what have we got in here? Again, what's this? The labourer's cottage. Wow. And this presumably was where they used to make bread. Well, the telephone box here, it's actually a replica or restored, as the original was burnt down during the making of a film here in the 1980s. The original was a 1929 K1 Mark 236 telephone box. Now this is the Tyneham School exhibition, and look at the pegs there, each with the pupil's individual name on, just as it was back in the 30s. Well, hopefully there's enough light in here to show you. This is the reconstructed schoolroom, almost like a museum now, and it looks as it was when the kids left the school all those years ago. It was built in 1856 to house 60 children, but that number halved when the Coast Guard station down the road at Worbarrow closed in 1911. There were only 9 pupils here in 1932 when effectively the school closed, and this became a village hall until the evacuation. Wow, just look in here. This is where, well, you would have started a fire down below there and then boiled all your laundry and washing in there. Lots of memories here, and now gradually getting absorbed back into the landscape. Well, behind me here is the church, and I'm pleased to say that it's open, so we'll have a quick look inside. It's St Mary's Church, and it dates from the 13th century, made up of a nave, chancel, north and south transept and west porch, and there were considerable alterations in 1744, and the chancel was rebuilt in the early 19th century with the south transept, which was built in 1832, and in 1880 the south porch was moved to the current position on the west side of the church. Okay, let's pop inside. Actually, just before we do, there's a note on the door here, and apparently one of the last people to actually leave the village put a note up on the door, and it said, "Please treat the church and houses with care. We have given up our homes where many of us have lived for generations to help win the war to keep men free. We shall return one day, and thank you for treating the village kindly." And of course, they never returned. Okay, and again, the light might not be that great in here, but it gives you an idea. And there's a few display boards that tells us all about the Bond family of Tyneham, who are the main owners of the estate. There's a beautiful stained glass window there, and looking up the ceiling above, and it's gradually turning around. It really is quite pretty. And I say, there's a lot of these information boards telling you all about the village and its history. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little look round Tyneham. I probably didn't give it justice, but I expect there are plenty of YouTube videos out there if you want to find out a bit more detail with the village. Okay, we're now going to start our walk proper, as it were, and heading up Whiteway Hill, which is just behind me here. I've just seen a biplane fly over, which is a lovely sight with the blue sky. I say, it's a glorious sunny morning in July, and there's hardly a cloud in the sky. It's quite warm. There's a little bit of a breeze as well, which is perfect for keeping us cool, but we've got plenty of water anyway. Puffing and panting away. We're about halfway up our ascent, and there's quite a nice gravel track to follow, so it's not been too bad, but already there are some fantastic views from up here. Just behind me there's Worbarrow Bay. Isn't that beautiful? With a really deep blue sea, and that's Worbarrow Tout. We'll hopefully be heading that way, and we'll be on top of that at some stage in the walk. And this is now looking down into Tyneham with the remains of the various buildings, and there's the car park. It really is quite beautiful up here. Well, we've made it to the top of the ridge, although I think we've still got a little bit more of an uphill bit to do. There's a lovely bench here that we've just rested at, where we had some great views looking over to the east. But of course, now we're on top, we've got some great views of the west. And behind me here, you can see the tracks used by tanks still today, part of the Lulworth Ranges. And the ranges have been there since 1917. Wow, we've just bagged a trig point. So that must mean we must be at the highest point now. Again, looking west, and just over the top of the gorse, I can make out that's Lulworth Castle basking in the sunshine. We're now just about to head into the Iron Age hill fort that was at Flowers Barrow. From here, an even better view of the castle down in the valley below. And here we go. So this presumably is the outer ramparts. I say the fort's about 2,500 years old. It was taken over by the Romans when they invaded, and it has a double and triple rampart, basically parallel ramparts on the east and west side, and well, there was a cliff on the south side, so no need of a defence there, but apparently it's been gradually eroded by the sea. Well, here we are in the centre of the hill fort, so this is looking north and gradually panning round, and there's Lulworth Castle down below, and you can see the ramparts here definitely, and there is a little information board. I'll try and take a photo, although there's going to be quite a bit of glare in the sun, so but this shows us you're going to get the shadow, I'm afraid, of the microphone, but that's what the fort used to look like. But up here, I don't know if you can see, it shows where it's all now being eroded away, so you've only probably about half the fort still remains. Okay, now let's head over there. I think there's some great views from that vantage point there. Well, how about this for a view at the edge of the hill fort? Isn't this wonderful? So look at the cliffs over there. Beautiful. And in the distance you've got the Isle of Portland, some yachts in the bay there, and what looks like a little speedboat. Isn't that sea so blue? A little lookout hut there. I wonder if that had anything to do with the Second World War. And there down below is Worbarrow Bay, which is where we'll be heading next. In fact, we'll be following that track down there. It's quite a steep descent, and that's Worbarrow Tout, where we'll be hopefully having a look up from there. But oh, isn't that beautiful? And the boat's moored up there, glinting in the sun. And where are we? It's 11:15 on a Saturday in July, so the beach is beginning to look quite busy. I expect a few families have parked at Tyneham and then made their way along. See, there's basically a nice gravel track that goes straight back to Tyneham there. But oh, isn't that beautiful? I made sure we had plenty of water because it's quite a warm day today. I expect we'll have a paddle in the sea later on as well. Now, if you're going to be doing this walk or following it from this video, this is a little bit of important information. Ignore the what looks like the obvious footpath through the gap there, but instead you want to look for a little gap in the embankment here. There are two yellow posts either side, because that's the path that's going to take us downhill into Worbarrow Bay. And This is where my knees start to remind me that they're nearly 60 years old. Oh my goodness. Oh folks, wish me luck. I don't think I want to come here after it's been raining, because I reckon this will get quite slippy, but the ground's nice and firm at the moment. But we're just going to take it nice and gently, and we should be okay. In fact, it becomes a little bit grassy later on, but oh, all the way down here you've still got this beautiful view. I know I keep going on about it, but it's wonderful. Well, behind me here is Worbarrow Bay. And it's so beginning to get quite busy now. Now, there was a Coast Guard station here that employed over half of the 50 village inhabitants, and the rest were fishermen. And well, there were 7 fishermen's cottages here at one stage. And there was a lookout position at the top of Worbarrow Tout. The Coast Guard station closed in 1911 and was demolished completely in 1912, and the settlement never really recovered, and like Tyneham, everyone was evacuated in 1943. Okay, there ahead of me is Worbarrow Tout, our final ascent of the walk. Come on Logan, pull your old dad up. Keep going, we're nearly there. Good boy. Come on. We'll have a drink at the top. Oh, I could murder a pint, I tell you. Well, here we are at the top of Worbarrow Tout, and there's a wonderful breeze here. Just what the doctor ordered. But from here, well, the views are out of this world. They really are. So let me just show you behind me. Obviously that's looking out to sea, and the Portland Island over there, and then gradually panning round those typical Jurassic Coast cliffs, and then panning round, and that's where the hill fort is, or gradually being eroded into the sea, down into the Worbarrow Bay there and the beach. And then this is looking back over the firing range. This is where Worbarrow once was situated, and the Coast Guard building, I think, was down there. And that path there is the one that we're going to take back to Tyneham, and where those people are climbing. If you're feeling adventurous, you can walk up the top of that hill and along the ridge and then into Tyneham, and that's part of the South Coast Path, that 630-mile long distance path that goes all the way from what's it, Poole in Dorset, all the way around to Minehead in Somerset, and then another pan round that glorious blue sea with the sun glinting in the waves. Oh, it's beautiful up here, it really is. Well, we've got to have our customary dip in the sea. Nice to cool down. What a beautiful setting. I say, we decided to give the beach at Worbarrow Bay a miss because it's quite busy, but on the other side of the Tout there's this lovely little sheltered cove that no one seems to be aware of. We've got it to ourselves. That's it. Oh, he's being really brave now. Now, any minute now, if I mention that there might be some fish in there, I wouldn't drink it. It's salt water, mate. I've got plenty of water in my bag, don't worry. What a beautiful setting though. I should have brought a picnic. The sun glinting off the sea. I could stay here for ages. We're now leaving Worbarrow on the homeward leg, following the path back to Tyneham. Just as I'm coming along the path here, there's a remains. I think this is the only remains of a fishing cottage left at Worbarrow. And then just looking up again, that's the that big hill fort that we came down, and that's the ridge that we walked along right at the beginning. Well, just before you get back to the car park, there's the Tyneham History Barn, which it's the old Tyneham farm, and they've reconstructed it as if it was back in the 1940s. We haven't got too much time to look around because A, it's hot, B, there's a lot of people here, and C, Logan and I need the pub quickly. But just a couple of things to show you. Obviously this is the one side of the barn. Lots of interesting things inside there, but just over here to the side, this is where they used to keep a bull, and it was known as the Monster Devon Bull. And he was kept inside there. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We thought we'd do the end scene up at the top of Worbarrow Tout with these fantastic views. We hope you enjoyed the walk. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment. And as I always say, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. That way hopefully you'll be able to join us for another walk sometime in the future. Oh, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. The weather has been glorious today, and the scenery quite breathtaking, and we're on our way back. See if we can find a tea room somewhere. I think we deserve it. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio. Hello, I'm Dave, and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the village of Tyneham in Dorset. Oh, shit. I didn't see you there, sorry. Yeah, I'll do it again.
Stay there.
Good boy.
I'm
Sit.
the star of the show.
Yeah.
Do you do a blog or?
Yeah, a video YouTube channel, yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
What's the name? I'll look it up.
Oh, hang on, I'll switch this off.